Hello everyone and welcome back to Module 2. Last time we looked into the relevance of creating a social media workflow. But now we're going to get our hands dirty and start looking at the things that you have to work on in order to make it work. So let's start with clear roles and responsibilities. This one is one of my favorites because having clear roles and responsibilities is going to help you and the team to avoid confusion. You're going to have time to focus on what's really important and bring the productivity back. So let me get the bad things out of the way first. What happens when you don't have clear roles and responsibilities? When the roles are unclear, you're going to have things like overlapping tasks, miscommunication, friction, burnout, and psychosocial risks. And yes, that one sounds bad. So let's look at each one of them, and let me start with overlapping tasks. Imagine you go to a restaurant and there are two chefs cooking the same dish for the same person. That's not going to end up well. Everybody's going to try to add their secret sauce to it, and it's going to end up ruining the dish and the whole experience. And that happened because there's no clarity on who's responsible for what. And that happened because miscommunication. Now, miscommunication brings confusion to everybody. And it's not just people being confused. It's missing deadlines, doing the wrong tasks, not understanding the tone of voice of the whole brand. Communication is supposed to make everybody's life easier and supposed to have clarity for everyone to understand what their roles are. When none of these things happen, it brings friction. And that means exactly what you think it is. People don't get along. People are mad. People are confused. They start pointing fingers at each other and they start disliking the whole environment of work. And that brings to burnout. And if you've been working for a while, maybe you felt it before. This is one of the main reasons of work-related stress. Not having the clarity of what your role and your purpose in the whole strategy is, it brings you down. It brings you and it makes you not want to work anymore. And that takes us to psychosocial risks. And that might sound bad, but it's because it is. It is bad because it brings anxiety and stress to your people. When they don't understand their role and priorities and basically their purpose into the whole strategy, people feel left behind. People feel they don't want to come back anymore to work with you or for the company. It's a huge risk, not just for social media, but basically for everyone involved in the brand. So is there a solution? Yes, it's role clarity. And what is role clarity? It's basically the opposite of everything we just talked. You know what you're supposed to do. You know who to talk and who to ask questions. You know your tasks and deadlines. You know your role and your purpose and the whole scheme of the social media strategy. Now, there are a couple of things that you want to add into this role clarity to make it better for your team. Let's look at those. If you want to make it easier for your team to have role clarity, think of including some of these responsibilities. Have the tasks, deliverables, processes, goals, and KPIs. Now, I don't want you to think that this is just some mindfulness or new age approach to work. It's not. It's backed up by studies. There's a really good study by the International Journal of Service Industry Management that shows that workers that they had clear roles, they were more committed to work. They were happier. They were more efficient. And that's not only good for them, but it's good for the company overall. They provide better customer service and focus on the things that they're supposed to focus. Now, if you look at the Great Resignation times, many companies lost top talent, but the companies that decided to focus on clear roles managed to keep them all on board. That big is the difference. So how do we establish role clarity? Well, let me give you 5 things you can do straight away in order to start. 5 things you can do straight away is to have a clear communication, documentation, training, feedback and communication, and role clarity tools. So how do we start with clear communication? You can start with something as simple as having weekly meetings. Now, remote work is making that a bit harder, but you can have online meetings, you can have online reports, you can track the OKRs that the people are working on so everybody's on the same page and everybody understands what's happening. With documentation, it's very similar. If you have one document, think of an Excel sheet that everybody have access to where they can find all of the details of each task, each campaign, or everything that you're doing. Is everything documented in one place going to make the life easier? Yes, it will. What I used to do a lot too is to have regular trainings. Everybody knows something that the others don't, so get them involved into train each other. Show them what you know and let them show what they know. Everybody can start learning from each other and create regular trainings and workshops. Feedback and communication should be something you encourage as a manager or even as a team member. The team needs to understand what are they doing right, but also what are they doing wrong, where to improve. But you need to have those communication channels open. And when we talk about role clarity tools, this can be from a simple software in the computer where everybody can access their roles, or team building exercise, role-playing games. There are a lot of workshops available for you for free on Google that can help you clarify their roles. Now, when you do these things and everybody understands what they are supposed to do, you remove a lot of the confusion, a lot of the friction, and improve the mental health of your team. So now I want to move into something slightly more technical, which is how to create your own social media team. Regardless if you're starting in a small company or a big company, you need to have clarity of what are the relevant roles and what are the responsibilities. So let's look into the key roles and the diversity inside the social media team. It doesn't matter the size of the company, social media became something incredibly relevant for any brand. Now, companies have different approaches. They might have one person in charge of everything, who is basically building community, making posts, creating video, designing posts, or, which hopefully that's not you, or create a big team where everybody has clear roles and responsibilities. Also, they might decide to go for an agency. It doesn't matter which way it goes. There's certain things that they need to be done, and hopefully you have enough people to do the right things. This will depend on your budget, of course. I mean, companies might be able to afford 10 people just to look into the whole marketing experience, or they might not have enough and just have to go for one person to do them all. So let's look, if you're that one person and you have the chance to create your own social media team, what are the key roles that you need? So now let's look at the typical social media team roles. Social media manager, head of social media marketing, content creator, community manager, social media analyst, paid social expert, copywriter, graphic designer, video editor, influencer marketing manager, and hopefully you're not doing all of them at once. So let's start looking at the roles. Let's start with the social media manager, which might be you. The social media manager is basically the captain of the ship, right? They want to look into everything. They're the one replying to comments, posting some ideas, talking to the customers on a regular basis. So they have a lot of information that is very relevant to the whole company. In some of the bigger companies, you're going to find also a head of social media marketing. This person usually is closer to the CMO or the CEO, and they're not fully hands-on onto the strategy. They usually try to drive the vision of the company. So they bring the information directly from the top to the whole team. This one is one of my favorites, which is the content creator. It's people like me, people who will match their values and energy to the ones of the company, people who will represent the company in everything that they create. This can be people in video like me, or copywriters, or designers, everybody who translate the big idea of the company into something that the audience can digest and love. Poetic. The community manager is not just someone who's in charge of checking Facebook, and that's something you hear a lot. Community management involves into create a community, give a reason for people to gather around your brand and connect with each other. And not only with each other, with your brand as well. They will become your loyal customers, and their word of mouth is the most important tool that you have in marketing. The social media analyst is one of my least favorites because they're the ones that they need to make sure that everything that you do in social media has a ROI. They need to look at the numbers to see if there's any successes or any failures in the things that you're doing in social media. They are paid to look at the numbers and provide data and analysis based on what you're doing. When you have a paid social expert, it's very simple. It's someone who focuses on spending money. And I don't mean it in a bad way. They spend the money of the company in a smart way. They have data to know where to allocate the right resources. And this is basically ads in Facebook, ads in Google, anything that relates or anything that goes together with paying to expose your brand to your customers. They are the ones in charge. Having a good copywriter is a blessing because they understand the tone of voice so well that doesn't matter what they write in which channel, they are the ones translating all of this into words. So they understand this tone of voice in a way that they can post anything, anywhere, and the experience will be the same across every channel. I'm not going to forget about the graphic designers who make everybody's life easier. Graphic designers create visuals that they can actually match the words. And not only that, they can make you feel things. They understand colors and shapes in a way that all of these beautiful words that you're creating with the right tone of voice, it will make sense in a whole context. It will deliver something in a way that people can digest it easier and in a magnificent way. If you can get your hands on a good video editor, do it. Because after all, video is king. The reason why you're watching this in video is because this is the way you like learning. So having a good video editor is going to make all of this very easy for you to understand. And even though there are more roles, I want to close this idea with the influencer marketing manager. Influencers are a big thing, regardless if it's going down or going up. Nobody's clear on that area. But having one person to be in charge of the relationship between your brand and influencers and making sure they provide the same experience, the same values, the same tone, that is a very important role, especially nowadays. So make sure if you don't have the time and energy, have someone who's dedicated fully for the relationship between the brand and the influencers. And there's also you, the multitasking social media manager who's doing everything, and that's okay. It's going to be good for you to learn every aspect of social media, so when the time comes and the budget is there, you can create your own team because you understand everything that is happening around it. So even though it's a lot of work in the beginning, don't give up. It's going to pay off. It doesn't matter if it's a one-man band or a 20-people team, there are certain things that this team is going to need. One of them is flexibility. Your team needs to be ready to adapt to any changes quick. If there's a new trend, you need to know about it and jump on it. If there's a new feature that is being released just today by developers, you already understand it so well that you can go ahead and talk about it. Now, your team needs to be cross-functional. Nothing can work on its own. The designer needs to understand the tone, the writer needs to understand the feature, the paid social media guy needs to understand why he's putting money behind something because he understands the strategy. You get the point. When all of this work, you have a collaborative team, a team that understands everybody's roles and responsibilities and can work as one. I really hope this little rundown of different roles is going to help you when you have to create your own team, but also it's going to help you understand your own role in the company. Regardless, all of these little things are going to help you to become a more successful social media manager. So that's it for now for this module. I will see you in the next one.
I thought you might be home. I wasn't sure.